Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to finally round out the last of the Legacy Wave 3 Deluxes with Crankcase. I loved the Skids version. How about this one? Well, we're about to find out when we dive into everything to do with this guy in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby! That's right, hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below, also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is Crankcase. I'm a big fan of the Skids Burnout mold. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it being adapted here. Was it successful or not? Maybe it was even more successful. We're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And just today, we round out the Wave 3 Deluxes for the Transformers Legacy line. And this, of course, is Crankcase. Before we look at him, you know what we're gonna do. Let's have a look at that packaging first. Here we have Crankcase in his vehicle mode, looks nice. Over here, again, we have a close-up of his face in the robot mode. Looks pretty good, looks pretty good. The Decepticon stuff on this side that we usually have with Legacy, and on the back, the QR code for the stats and whatnot. And of course, we have our boy in both of his alt modes. We got our instructions, and I mean, they're fine. If you know the like Skids Burnout use of this mold, then you have a pretty close idea as to how this is gonna go. He comes with two accessories. One is this translucent blaster. It seems to be kind of smoky. Maybe it's cast in a smoky plastic, a smoky translucent, or maybe it's paint. I'm really not sure, but it's not a solid color. The other accessory I'll show you in a moment. And here's the unlikable bully and brute known as Crankcase. He is a TriggerCon. Long story short, nobody likes him. Decepticons don't like him. Autobots don't like him. He is, you know, kind of a nobody. I think he was like a janitor. He bullies those weaker than him. He likes to think of himself as powerful, but he's really kind of not. Over his shoulders, we should have two cannons if we're going to be like the original G1. And because this guy wasn't in the cartoon, I'm going to measure his scores really based on like his original release. And indeed, this guy does have both blasters. Kinda, sorta. They are there over his shoulder. They barely come up. They can take blast effects, which is cool. Now, the interesting thing, when I was trying to do this guy, I'm trying to do the transformation, and I'm trying to get the rear end of it all solidified. And what I didn't realize is that one of these blasters was angled down, because they can swerve up and down. And when it was swerved back, it was hitting off of his leg. So if you kind of encounter difficulty, check to make sure that both of those are facing like up toward his shoulders as they should be. Let's talk about the coloration for the guy. Outside of that, we have blue on the arms with black biceps, though like his entire arm and hand should be blue. That being said, I don't mind the kind of blackish biceps and hands. I'm saying blackish because it might be a super dark gunmetal gray. I think it's black though. The feet and shins should all be blue. The feet are black, but again, I'm okay with that. The knees and the thighs should all be black. The thighs here are blue, so there are a few liberties taken, for sure. The face should be orange, the head should be blue, so that's all right. Even the tires on the arms is correct. Now, that being said, the torso should be like a black, and there's this like purple and teal kind of coloration on the chest, and indeed, that is there. We can take this whole front grille off, and we can flip out, what side is it? Where is it? I guess you don't even need to flip it out really. I mean, you could use that handle down there if you're so inclined, but there's another one here if I can just find where I flipped it up. Is it here? Yeah, okay, so that's what it is. That's what it is, my mistake. So what you do is, there's this piece here that's up and in. You flip this down, then we have two starts here. They can take blast effects. You put that in the hand, and now he could have like a dual barrel blaster in his hand. But what that does do is it opens up the teal detail on the sides. We don't quite have the purpley color here in the middle with the little bit of yellow, but it's pretty darn close. Plus now we have this silver detail down here, though to be fair, that probably shouldn't be there, and we are missing some detail on the hips. That was sticker detail. So maybe this that's up here is supposed to be kind of mimicking the detail on the hips. I feel like most of the cues are here for a crankcase, for a modern crankcase. Not perfect, but most of the cues are there. I'm going to give it a solid 8, honestly. I think it's recognizable as crankcase. No, you know what? 7.5. 7.5. It's recognizable as crankcase. I like it. I think it is effective, but I mean, compared to the original release, it certainly is somewhat stylized. Again, though, this is kind of a fringe character, so as I say, 7.5, like, you know, there are those who would look at it and instantly know his crankcase and say 10. I get it, because he's not one of the core, so to speak. Okay, let's do the articulation. The head left and right. The arms go all the way around, I think. Do they go all the way around? Yeah, they do. They go all the way around. We have a butterfly because really of transformation, but we do have a butterfly. We have an elbow to a little over 90 degrees. Elbow, our bicep swivel. You can see the elbow there. Wrist swivel. I'm pretty sure we have a wrist too. Yes, we have a wrist. We have a waist, left and right. Legs can kick all the way forward. Legs can kick all the way back. They can go all the way out to the side, even a bit further, I think. And no, maybe that's about as far as they go out to the side. Thigh swivel. Hollow leg in here, man. Remember when we lost that, when the prices jumped up and I was talking about it and everybody said, yeah, but they're so much better now. We don't have the hollowness like we do with Prime Wars. Until Legacy. Just saying. Knee to 90 degrees. Ankle tilt. Now, everything is sort of there. He's solid on his feet. Honestly, I think the guy is, by rights, he should be a solid, I'll say 9.5. However, at least on my copy, there is a real flaw, and I don't know if it's on everyone's, but it's certainly with mine, that is going to drop this back to, I'm going to have to say about, again, a 7.5. And it's this. The chest doesn't at all lock in, which means as soon as I go to move the arms, that comes up. I can push it in, and it sounds like it's sort of tabbing, but because the tolerance on the arm is tighter than the tolerance on the chest, as soon as I go to move either arm, see? As soon as I move it, doesn't matter the arm. As soon as I move it, the chest comes up. So I do have to hold the chest. Should have been a 9.5. Going to drop it to a 7.5. That's a real bummer and a fairly major tolerance issue for the center of the body, if I'm being honest. Right now, I mean, the guy is only about a 7.5. I'd like to like him more because, frankly, I really like the mold. I love it for Skids. I love it for Burnout. I know that this one is slightly different, but I mean, this guy's chest stays tabbed. This guy's chest stays tabbed, or her chest, I should say. As I believe I made the mistake of calling Burnout male throughout the entire review, and I'm pretty sure Burnout's female. So his chest stays tabbed, her chest stays tabbed, his doesn't. That's a real bummer. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure why. There seems to be a little edge lip to the bumper on this version that maybe just catches something. I'm not sure. And maybe it's a results will vary thing. We all know what the QC has been like. You know, when we get to the top 10 and bottom 10 for everybody this year, I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with, because I think it's going to be very different and very all over the map based on people's QC experiences. I digress. 7.5, 7.5. So let's do the transformation. I'm going to take this and lay it aside. I'm going to take this out of this hand and fold it up and put it back on the chest. I'm going to actually pick that up over, because why not? I'm actually going to adjust the camera back a little bit. Should this be able to come? Yeah, this should be able to. kind of come all the way up. I'm going to adjust the camera back a little bit so that we have some room here to work and see what we're doing. Okay, so here we go. We're going to open these up. We're going to take the back tires and bring them out. By the way, the back tires on this copy of the mold are the loosest of all three of this mold. Like, they're not bad, but I mean, they are definitely the loosest, goosiest of all versions of this mold that I have. And I was going to put these legs together for later. Can I do that now? I feel like I should be able to do that now. Maybe I can't do that now. Okay, yes I can. Yes I can. We're going to take the waist, and I'm doing this fairly quickly because again we've really sort of seen this a couple of times now. And we're going to take that off. There, we're going to bring that whole waist up over. And this was where I was having the issue because one of the shoulder cannons was down here and hitting off of the hip. And when it was hitting off the hip, it wasn't letting this collapse all the way in to where it needs to collapse, you know, for like this to go down over. Okay, so now that we got that done, let's come down here and we're going to bring in an arm, and I should be able to get that in, and I should be able to bring that arm in as well and get that in, get both of these in, bring these down on the sides, bring this up, and I do need to fiddle and finagle and tab a few things in here. And when I was doing it, the very front came off. There. Yeah, I need to fiddle and finagle a little bit back here with the back end. Let's see if I can just do it here on camera or not. It's a tight fit for the back end on this one. Okay, got that down, got that down. Got those in on the side. I'm just going to kind of make sure everything is sort of cleaned up here a little bit. I do wish that we had the nice pizzazzing back detail here on the windows, and I wish that these windows were not just left black but done as like a gray or something, but I'll talk about that in a moment. Let me just make sure everything is sort of cleaned up, and yeah, we'll go on with the end of the score from there. And boom, in the end here we have Crankcase all tabbed together and all solidified in his vehicle mode. This I put on the back where the tire is. There's another 5mm port back there. There's a 5mm port on the top up there. The guy rolls tremendously well. It drives me nuts that we have black at the center here and just silver all the way here. Why they didn't just color that silver, I don't know. We've all heard about that before. Front grille looks good. Nice and painted and stuff. Same over here. Now, we should have some blue back here. We don't have that. There should be blue down around the front of the vehicle. We don't have that. The windows should be like a white or a gray, though they're clear here or translucent here. And I'm okay with that. Back here where there's no paint, that should really have like some pizzazz, like some like purple and teal, almost like a lightning bolt type of design, a zigzag type of design, and right in the center of it there should be white, so that's not there. We are definitely missing paint. We do have the lines down the top, as we should have. So it's definitely kind of stylized, and that's why I got like a 7.5. In terms of the transformation, oh, by the way, it does have the teal up here with the Decepticon logo, which is nice. In terms of the transformation, it's all right. I mean, it's fine. I feel like things were smoother on my Skids and my Burnout, but again, a lot of people had issues tabbing the Skids roof in, and even I had kind of a couple of issues. It was tight, but here I felt like the way that the doors come down on the side rather than folding in, I don't know if I find it as secure, to be honest with you. Now, once he's together, he's solid. Solid as a tack. Like, I'm going to give the transformation a 9. I think it's great. It's where his strength is, for sure. But I do feel like we've reached a point where maybe we shouldn't use this mold a whole lot more. 7.5, 7.5. was a 7.5, a 9 for the transformation. Overall, the guy's about an 8, 8.25. It's an all-right crankcase. It's one of those entries in Legacy that I'm glad we have it, because when are we ever going to get, you know, another crankcase, another trigger con like this? Do I think that it could have been done a little bit better? Yes. Do I think that it's bad as it is? No. Do I think it's going to make like the best list? Probably not. Is it going to make the worst? Possibly, but not because it's bad. Just because there are a couple of niggling little issues and a couple of imperfections that keeps it from being, you know, excellent rather than just pretty great. Hope that makes sense. 7.5, 7.5, 9, 8, 8.25. That's Crankcase in the books. So here we are once again, and here he is. I'm not gonna lie, kind of disappointed. Didn't want to be, because I love the look of the guy. I love the chest feature where it can come off and become like a dual barrel blaster. I think that's really cool. The little blasters up here are easy to miss and forget that he's even supposed to have them. And you know what? They're really tiny. You could have made them, I don't know, a little bit better than that somehow. I think I would have even preferred if they were on his shoulder or something, make them accessories, I don't know. But if they're not folded up, it's also very cumbersome for the transformation, and I didn't realize that one of mine was folded down, which really kind of hindered me trying to fold up the body. The back tires are, they're fine, but they're definitely the loosest that I've had in all three molds. And while I can get it past all that, and I think the coloration looks good, even if it is stylized, the one thing I can't get it past is this. I mean, there's zero friction. When I try to move this arm, nothing. Let's try this one over here. I mean, nothing. No, absolutely no friction whatsoever. I feel like there should have been something here to lock it in, and maybe there's supposed to be, but if there is, it doesn't work on mine. And it takes what is otherwise like a well-done mold, an interesting mold, a fun mold, and really kind of ruins it for me, because I have to always now hold on to the chest if I want to move the arm. It's not a big deal, but in a line that's been generally quite strong, assuming you've avoided bad QC, something like this sort of QC where the torso just doesn't, it's a shame. It's a real shame and a bummer. I wanted to like this more than I do. Is it workable? Is it usable? Yeah, sure. But it could have been just a little bit better with something as simple as a chest locking point. Let me know what your experience was with Crankcase. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member at any given time. Also, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us, and never ever forget for 1 second that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.